Hi guys, I'm going to recap a 2016 horror thriller movie, called The Belko Experiment. This movie tells the story of a social experiment involving 80 American workers. They are locked and forced to play a deadly game of kill or be killed. Will they be able to find a way out and save everyone? Or are they going to kill their colleagues for their own sake? Let's find out. On a crowded street in Bogota, Colombia, Mike Milch is driving to work while talking on the phone. He arrives at his workplace, Belko Industries. The COO of the company, Barry Norris, also arrives at the remote office building. He finds unfamiliar armed guards checking the workers' IDs and turning local workers away. A new employee, Denise, is also registering for her new work, company car, and apartment. She is told that all American workers have trackers placed in their heads to keep an eye on them. This is done due to the high occurrence of kidnapping cases. Sitting by her new desk, Denise makes acquaintances with a few colleagues. As Mike enters the building, he meets his girlfriend, Leandra. He also talks with a few friends and Mr. Norris. It is a normal morning activity for him. But, when Mike sits by his office desk and looks outside, he notices strange things. New armed guards are walking to an old hangar that is usually abandoned. It stirs up his suspicion. Moments later, an unknown voice is heard through the intercom. This voice orders all workers to kill 2 people among them in 30 minutes. All methods of murder are permitted. If the order is not fulfilled, there will be repercussions. Most of the workers shake it off as a sick joke, but some take it seriously and start to panic. Furthermore, all the communication lines are dead. A woman tries to run to the exit door. However, the building is suddenly sealed off by metals. No one can escape. People start to notice the direness of the situation they are in. Everybody becomes nervous and tense. Chaos begins to erupt in the lobby, and one of the workers, Wendell, brutally bangs on the door. Norris appears and tries to handle the mess. He convinces them it is a government building. He assumes someone has discovered the surrounding metal feature and played a prank on them. Mike approaches Norris to refute his assumption. Mike tells him about the unusual appearance of new guards near the old hangar. It seems like this has been planned by an unknown party. However, Norris shakes him off. They start seeking various ways to escape the building. 2 maintenance workers try to make a hole through the metal with the blowtorch. But the attempt fails since the metal doesn't budge at all. Denise and 3 other people go to the rooftop to seek help. They meet the cafeteria worker, Marty, hanging out with 2 of his friends. They look over the barricades to find security guards outside the building. They shout for them to help, but the guards sit back unwaveringly. While the workers are confused by the whole situation, the head of one of Marty's friends explodes. Everyone is greatly shocked by the sudden brutal occurrence. In the lobby where everyone else gathers, 3 more people die in the same state. The other workers panic, thinking someone is shooting them. Upon closer examination, it turns out to be explosions from the inside of the head instead of bullet wounds. Mike makes a hypothesis that the tracker tags that are put in their heads are rigged to explode. They are finally hit with the realization of why local workers are sent home that morning. Only American workers have the tracker tags. Mike finds a cutter and locks himself in the bathroom. Then, he cuts his head to try to rip out the tracker tag. The unknown voice is suddenly heard through the intercom and threatens him to stop. If he doesn't stop at the count of 10, the tracker will be detonated. Mike fails his attempt and stops at the last second as Leandra begs him to. He opens the door and proceeds to get his head stitched. Meanwhile, the other workers find security cameras all over the bathroom. Their moves are being watched everywhere. Watching the scene, Norris starts to weigh his option to survive. He tries to deceive the building security guard to give him the key to the armory. Implying his superiority, he states that he wants to keep it safe from others. But the security guard refuses to, refuting the key will be safe with him. The voice is heard again through the intercom. This time, it warns them not to tamper with the tracker tags and the cameras. Any disobeying behavior will lead them to immediate death. There are 76 people left in this building. In 2 hours, they must eliminate 30 people. Or else, 60 of them will die as a consequence. While in the basement, 2 maintenance workers are trying to find a way out. However, out of panic, one of them freaks out and accidentally kills the other with a wrench. Denise, who has been hiding, witnesses the scene. She tries to run away, but the maintenance worker manages to grab her. He wants to shut her mouth by killing her. Denise struggles, and when his grips loosen, she pushes him back. The worker's head knocks into sharp nails and dies. In the building, all workers are gathered in a meeting room. Out of the reluctance to kill one another, some start to give suggestions that can probably save a lot of them. Leandra suggests putting an SOS banner on top of the building to catch people's attention. But the idea is rejected because the building is in a remote area. The situation starts to heat up and arguments go off. The discussion fails and the crowds disperse. Mike and Leandra meet the security guard in the lobby. They discover Norris, Wendell, and one of his subordinates trying to break into the armory with a blowtorch. The guard tries to stop them by pulling out his gun. Mike takes the gun and shoots the blowtorch tank before they run to the lift. The three meet up with other workers to work on the SOS banner. They plan to hang it over the building to call for help. They go to the rooftop and carry out the plan. However, the armed guards in the hangar spot them and start shooting at them. The intercom voice demands them to stop their plan, or their explosive trackers will go off. Mike and his friends start to head back downstairs in failure. Out of nowhere, Mike gets knocked in the head with a fire extinguisher. It turns out to be Norris, and his group's payback for Mike has disrupted their resort to open the armory. He faints to the ground, unconscious. His gun falls out and Norris takes it. He threatens the security guard to hand him the keys to the armory. The guard hands the key over and is stabbed fatally by Wendell. Norris forces Leandra to go with his group in case she runs away. Succeeded in opening the armory, Norris and his group get the guns out. They order people to head into the lobby as they only have 20 minutes left. The workers are dragged and pulled harshly. Mike is brought in after he regains consciousness. They begin to group people according to whether they have kids and if they are over the age of 60. The people that match the criteria have not met the number of 30 people. So, they start randomly picking workers. The chosen ones, including Mike, are asked to kneel facing the wall. Norris turns the music on, trying to conceal the screams of his staff. He and Wendell start shooting the workers dead. Meanwhile, Mike whispers to Norris' subordinate, persuading him to hand him the gun. But the subordinate exposes Mike to Norris, causing his attempt to escape to fail. The scene of the massacre is witnessed by Denise, who was left behind in the basement. She returns to the basement and finds the electricity circuit to cut off the power. When the lights go off, Norris and the group start shooting in the dark. In the chaos, Mike and the rest make their way out in a hurry. The intercom sounds again stating that they have 2 minutes left and there is still one more person to eliminate. In an office, Norris' subordinate walks in, and Leandra attacks him hard. He drops to the ground and starts begging Leandra to spare him. She stops her movement, as her moral is restraining her intention. At the same time, the voice speaks over the intercom again. The time is up and they have only killed 29 people. Following, 31 additional people have their heads blown out. Everyone watches in fear as their friends die tragically. The voice speaks again and says the last stage of the game will have the person with the most kills survive. The current situation states that out of 16 people remaining, Norris has the most kills with 11 kills. Next, Wendell with 7 kills, and both Denise and another worker have 1 kill. Leading the scores, Norris and Wendell go off and kill everyone they come across. Meanwhile, Denise is hiding on the top of the lift with a coworker. Norris gets into the lift to go to the top floor. Getting near the ceiling, Denise manages to hop off the top, but the coworker is unfortunate to do so. He is crushed and the lift is stuck. Norris then gets out of the lift. On the other side, Leandra finds Marty and his friend in the cafeteria where numerous bodies are laid out. They are digging the tracker bombs out of the heads of those who didn't get their skulls blown out. Marty says he's going to use them to blow up the door. Leandra leaves after complimenting him that it is a good idea. She proceeds to the security room, using the intercom to search for Mike. She asks him to meet her on the ground floor. On her way, she comes across Wendell shooting his friend. Wendell spots her and starts shooting her as well. Leandra hides behind a table with Marty, who shows up to help, but he gets shot dead by Wendell. Leandra makes her way over to Wendell. She starts swinging an axe down into his face and it kills him. Mike and Leandra manage to meet each other. Leandra tells him about Marty's idea to blow the door up. They take the tracker bombs with them. Afterward, they are attacked by a man worker throwing explosive bottles. They run up the stairs and run into Norris wielding his gun. Norris starts shooting blindly at them. They run back in the other direction. In the chaos, Denise hops down to the lift. Barely standing firm, she is spotted by Norris and shot in the head at once. Norris turns to the man worker and shoots him dead. Unfortunately, Leandra also gets shot. Hiding in a wardrobe, she dies next to Mike. Learning Norris is near them, Mike bursts out in a rage and attacks Norris. They fight and attack one another brutally until Mike grabs hold of a tape dispenser. He starts slamming Norris' head with it until he dies. Mike becomes the sole survivor. The armed guards come in and drag him out. Mike is brought into the old hangar, where the bomb's control panel and security camera displays are. He meets the voice owner, a man with a scarred face. The man tells Mike that Belko is part of an international organization that accommodates social scientists to study human behavior. Through the experiment, they have been gathering data about the human mind and behavior. Their sole purpose is to build a better world. The man starts to interview Mike about what he feels after the experiment. Surprisingly, Mike reveals that he took the tracker bombs that Marty dug out. He managed to slip them onto the armed guards and the voice owner himself. He abruptly runs to the control panel and activates the trigger. While the bombs explode, he takes the gun from the guards and shoots the rest of the guards. The voice owner tries to talk him out, but Mike is too angry to listen and shoots him repeatedly. Mike walks out of the hangar. The monitor zooms out, and he shows up in one of the camera displays. The monitor reveals that the same experiment is happening in thousands of other places. Hit the like button if you like the story, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching, see you next time.